This is Captain Charlie. We're going to talk about fishing line today. Uh, I'm going to tell you that I used to use monofilament. I'm a braid guy now, and I'm going to tell you why. I'll tell you the type of line that I use. It's called fins. It's called Wind Tamer, 30-pound test. You can get it at finsfishing.com. Some of the places carry it. This is 30-pound test. It's very, very small in diameter. I don't know if you can see that or not. It's very tough stuff. There's a lot of different types of braids out there that are good. You know, you got Power Pro and then a bunch of other ones. But that's what I like to use, and I'll tell you why. It's really, really sensitive. When I'm baiting with croaker or a live piggy perch, I mean, you can feel that bait wiggling on the end of your line. I mean, you can tell the minute that fish bites it. It's very abrasive resistance, which is originally why I started using it, because I fish redfish a lot. Sometimes we're on the shell and monofilament, gets cut off like that. Braid is really tough stuff. You hardly ever lose a fish. After we do this video, I'm going to put you a video on my Facebook, and it's going to show Cindy catching a great big jackfish, and I've got the drag pinched down really, really tight. So anyway, I use a braid line. The reason for that is it's abrasive resistant. It's very sensitive. If you use mono works really, really great. It's got stretch to it. With braid, you set the hook like on a trout. You don't set it real hard because they're soft mouth, and it's like almost like fishing with wire. It doesn't stretch a lot. Mono does. So let's talk about rods. If you're going to use mono, then you want a fairly stiff rod. You want like a medium to heavy rod. That gives you a little more backbone when you set the hook, because mono will stretch. If you're fishing for reds and you set that hook, you got to have a strong enough hook set that it'll bury the hook. But now with braid, that's a different story. You want to go like a medium action rod. It's got give in it, somewhere between 7 and 8 foot rod if you're going to cast bait. If you're going to throw lures, of course you can use a shorter rod. I like this Therese rod. It's a medium action rod. It's really, really light. Of course, I'm a Shimano guy. But when you can set the hook with this one, and it won't rip it out of its mouth, Even with braid, you can set it pretty good on trout, because it's light action, extra fast tip. But like I said, if you're going to use monofilament, you probably want to go to a medium heavy. That's what I used to use. There's a little more backbone when you set the hook on a redfish. Okay, let's talk about hooks. I am using these Mustad croaker hooks right now. You can get them at Walmart or HEB's or a tackle store. I like a 6/0 hook. Some people use 7s. I also use these Eagle Claws. The people that fish with me know I use these laser sharp Kale bronze hooks. They're very, very sharp. They will rust on you after a few days, but if a fish, you break a hook off or have to cut a hook off, it'll rust out of his mouth. I use these an awful lot. Okay, swivels. I love these power swivels. They're S-Pro swivels. They're size 8. They're good for 50 pounds. I've never ever broke one. They're this tiny. I'm kind of a visibility guy. I don't like anything on there that a fish might see. Can you see how small that swivel is? We've caught 35, 40-pound fish and never ever broke one. And some of the guides will use no swivel at all. They will tie their monofilament straight to their braid. You can do that. You'll use a uni to uni knot, which you can look up online. You don't have to use a swivel, and there's several good reasons for that. I mean, if you reel your swivel up into the end of your pole, one of these swivels, and then you cast, you can knock out your ceramics. So a lot of the guys will use no swivel at all, which is great. The reason I like a swivel, I can tie that swivel onto my braid, and the way I do that is I'll run that braid through the loop twice and tie a regular fisherman's knot, and it'll hold. You can pause it if you want to.